Hello everybody, my name is Bill. This is the channel Rust to Resurrection, and it is starting to get real. We're getting ready to order parts for the Dauntless V6, and I want to talk a little bit about that. If you've been following the channel since its inception and since its beginning, then you know that this whole channel, the whole purpose behind this channel is me trying to experiment and to learn new skills. I'm retired. I'm 6 years into my retirement, and in order to stay busy and to keep active and keep my brain alive, I'm trying new things, learning new things. It is the point of the channel. It is the point of my retirement. To that end, I am not a mechanic. Over the years, I've only worked on my cars out of desperation. In the early days when we were poor and things needed to get done, I dug in and I did the things that needed to be done. As life got busier and careers began to take priority, I had less and less time to do those things. And I like to joke with my family and friends that I had to get old to do the things that I wanted to do. And here we are. Why am I making this video? Because I've had to contact some parts suppliers in order to make sure I was getting the correct parts for this Dauntless, so that I wasn't making a mistake and spending thousands of dollars that I didn't need to spend, or get parts that weren't going to work. Now, so that you understand that I'm not going into this completely blind, I have been studying this stuff for years. I have the videotapes that teach how to rebuild an engine from scratch. I have 2 Buick V6 rebuild books that I've read to make sure that I understand what it is that needs to be done. Those 2 V6 books are for sort of performance V6. I'm not ready for that. I have a book on blueprinting, engine blueprinting. I have the service manual for rebuilding this engine, for tearing it down and rebuilding it, and it's been my Bible doing that. However, that doesn't make me an expert. It doesn't give me the skill sets to know how to do this stuff. So I need lots of help and lots of coaching. To that end, I have a text group, networking group, that includes a bunch of my friends from around the country who are also YouTubers who know a lot more about how to rebuild these engines than I probably ever will. And they have been not only my friends, but they've been willing coaches for me. I also have my local guy that you met when we went to pick up the Pontiac Grand Prix. Wayne's also coaching me, helping me to understand this stuff. I had a question for him last night about this, and I'll tell you about that here in a minute as well. If it wasn't for these guys, I'd be struggling to get through this stuff, because I know that it is not the tech guys on the parts supply houses' job or responsibility to teach me. But I had an experience talking to a tech guy recently that I thought could have been better if the tech guy was more willing to work with me to answer the questions I had. They are obviously salesmen first and tech guys second. And unfortunately, I felt that being a beginner, and as I explained to the tech guy early on, I'm a beginner and I need some help buying parts, that he seemed reluctant to give me enough information to help me make the best choice to buy these. Now, this is a big supply house. This is one of the supply houses that everybody on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram tell me that I need to go to, because they are the people. So I went to the people. Now, I'm probably still going to buy my stuff from them because they are the people. But when I started asking some very specific questions about the about, for instance, what size rings did I need to get. The first thing the guy said is, well, what did your engine machine shop tell you? And I said, I'm doing this on my own. I'm trying to do this on my own to learn how to do this. And I said, I brought it to the machine shop, which you guys know if you've been watching. I wanted to have it cleaned and inspected, Magnaflux. But beyond that, I'd already measured the tolerances, the bores. I'm a machinist. I've done this for decades. I get how this is done. The tech guy was uncomfortable that I had done my own measurements and that I didn't have the information specifically from the machine shop because the machine shop would do a better job, was the implication, than I would do. I wasn't insulted. I was just thinking, does it matter, guy? I am willing to pay you the parts. But his concern was that I would somehow hold him responsible, which I can see that. Having run my own business for years, I get that. I get how the liability was something that he was concerned with for his company. But at the same time, answering simple, basic questions seems to me that it should not have been putting them at risk. It was just me trying to understand what the best path forward was for buying the things that I needed. Now, if you have been following the channel and following the build series on this Dauntless V6, then you will know that when I got it disassembled and I went in to measure everything to get some preliminaries and find out where I stood, that I used a snap gauge and an OD mic. Okay? And that's how I got the dimensions that I needed to determine whether or not I was in spec or not. So when I talked to the tech guy, he sort of cast some doubt in my mind. So I called Wayne and I explained to him what I was doing, and I asked him if he had a cylinder bore gauge. And he goes, no. He says, no. He says, I use a snap gauge and OD mics. Now, Wayne has been building engines for years. In fact, a lot of the engines that he builds, he puts in his race car and goes racing with them. And I told him the story, and he says, Bill, he says, you know how to do this stuff. He says, just believe in yourself. Believe in the results that you got. So, snap ring and OD mics. I'm going to go with it. They did agree, which I thought was nice, to break up the engine rebuild kit and not include the things that I don't want. I'm not putting new pistons in. So the rebuild kit includes the pistons. They were willing, once I gave them the information, to send me the rebuild kit that didn't include the pistons, and they were going to re-quote it. And I'm actually pleased about that. I'm glad they were willing to do that, which again says that this company is an enthusiast based company. But again, I think my point is that if I'm a newbie and I don't know how to do this, my sense is that these supply houses, they're accustomed to dealing with people who are in the industry or informed or really understand how this stuff is done. And as I said from the beginning, the whole point of this is my first engine to ever rebuild. I'm learning as I go. I'm reading the books. I'm talking to my crew. They're guiding me. They're giving me a lot of really good information. So I'm curious to what your thoughts are. Am I wrong? Or would it have been better for customer service for them to realize when I told them that I was new that their opportunity to build a better customer relationship was to help coach me on the very questions that I was asking. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I'm completely off base. One other thing I do want to tell you before I let you go, though, is my text group, my networking group, we're starting to work on some collaborations come this spring. So there'll be 6 channels that we're going to have this competition amongst us. I'll tell you more about that in a future video, but it's actually getting to be a lot of fun because we're having a lot of laughs as we design what the races are going to look like. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm all wrong. And like I said, it's getting real. We're getting ready to order the parts and start doing the work on this engine and start putting it back together. Guys, I love you. See you in the next video. Bye.